What is going on, guys? DBG here, and today we are going to be talking about the top 10 best cards in my team history. So these are just the best overall cards, not necessarily overpowered. It's not just necessarily going to be low rated guys that outperformed or guys that just shouldn't have been nearly as good as they were. These are going to be the best overall cards. So time in the game is taken into account. So for example, I'm not going to put someone like 2K21 Simvular in, because that card came out in like August, so I'm just not gonna put those guys in. There's one card that came out in late July that's on the list because he's just too good to not have here, but most of these cards were in the game from like June or earlier in their respective games, and which meant that there was enough time. As well as that, how they compare to their other players matters, because we've had so many 99 all-stat cards nowadays that most of the time the cards aren't quite as OP because there's so many alternatives to them now that there wasn't back in the day. But first up is Zach Levine, the most unstoppable player until this year. Zach Levine literally got into an animation. If you got Zach Levine with a sprint into a dunk animation, it was a guaranteed 2 points. This was a game that launched with 98 overall LeBron. And back in 2K15, that 98 overall LeBron was LeBron's second best card for the year. Did not matter. Zach Levine was better. Zach Levine was better than the best Kevin Durant card that year. And Zach Levine was a day one silver card that you could use in lower seeds and road to the playoffs, which mattered a lot because you could only use your goal players for half of road to the playoffs. However, you could use Zach Levine the whole way. And literally, for a while, it was, if you didn't have Zach Levine, your opponent had Zach Levine, you were going to lose the game. No matter how good they were, all they had to do was sprint to the basket and hold square, and it was 2 points on every possession. 2K19, we're going with AK. I am going with AK-47 for 2K19. He had the perfect blend of everything. He had the dribbling, he had the god tier defense, he had the normal 4-leaner, he had base 11. As far as everything goes in NBA 2K19, I think that was AK's year. Yeah, Giannis was unbelievable, but you'll see later on in the video why I don't have that card included, and AK is my only 2K19 player. But no, like Andrei Kirilenko in a no position lock game was playing point guard an awful lot. He was able to burst. His release was unbelievable, very difficult to contest. He could fade from the halfway line. Was the best on-ball defender in the game. The guy was him. 2K19 AK is a card that Hito might have been more quote-unquote OP because he was an amethyst, but AK was the better of the two cards when it was all said and done. Then, Invincible Taco. Like, he was better on next gen. I can only find footage of me using him on current gen, but even on current gen, the damn speed burst. On next gen, taller players ran faster with the ball than smaller players, so he was the fastest player in the game when he had the ball in his hands. On current gen, once he got into a speed burst animation, taller players bursted faster. He was basically unguardable. As well as that, you could stick post hooks, so post hooks went in at a seriously high rate. You could use the stick very, very easily. So if you were just a 7-foot center, to shoot post hooks over him. As well as that, like, they had to respect him because he had a 99 3 ball. Because at any given stage, you could just shoot the 3 ball and it would probably go in. So for me, anyway, like Taco was him. Then we've got 2K17 Tracy Mcgrady. So you see that range right there, and you're like, oh my god, how is someone shooting from that deep in a 2K game? That's what Hall of Fame Limitless range was in NBA 2K17. There was only like 10 or 11 cards in the game that had that badge. But if you were a player if you had Hall of Fame Limitless range, you automatically became one of the 15, 20 best players in the game. Like how we're using Ruby, James Jones, and God Squads because of that one badge. But the difference with Tracy Mcgrady and all the other players with half limitless, other than Kevin Durant, was that Tracy Mcgrady was one of the best dribblers in the game. He also had that ability to attack the basket. So he was a 6'8 player, no position locks. Everyone played him point guard. He also had a really, really good fade, which was better than Steph's at the time. He was one of the most unstoppable players in all of my team. As well as that, the dude could literally pull from half court. You could hit whites from half court in this game. It was nuts. The most OP badge in the game on a card that was already OP without the damn badge. This Tracy Mcgrady, by far the best player in 2K17 that year. And now on to 2K18, or well, one more shot from T-Mac. Now we're on to 2K18, and I'm going to actually put in The reason why 2K19 Giannis is not here is because I think 2K18 Giannis is more OP. Was 2K19 Giannis a better card? Yes. The thing with 2K18 Giannis was, though, is that his release was better than 2K19's. 2K19 Giannis had a really slow release, so it was easy to contest even though he had a 95 3-ball. 18, he'd won the best release in the game. The blow-by animation was a thing. So he just ran to the basket. Nothing you could do. You played him a point guard because, well, why wouldn't you? Really? What? Seriously, like, why wouldn't you play Giannis Antetokounmpo a point guard? Because there was no position locks. He was everyone's either point guard, or a lot of people ran him at center because no one could guard him. The blow-by animation was crazy. The release was so good. He had a good 3-ball. You see that animation right there. You could not stop him. For me, yeah, 2K19 was great. 2K18 was more unstoppable. He was more unstoppable in my opinion. Then, I'm putting power within Luka. You might be saying, but Invincible Luka's better. When Power Within Luka came out, there was no point guard even close to being to him. At least when Invincible Luka came out, there's been so many god tier point guards. Invincible Simmons was already out. Invincible Simmons was a week coming out. We already had like Ben Simmons. We already had Jordan. We already had all these cards. But when Power Within Luka right now is still a top 5 point guard on my team. He is. And that is just a crazy thing. It's just the way Luka Doncic is broken in this game. And Power Within Luka epitomizes that. He epitomized that. I know obviously the thumbnail's got Invincible Luka, but for me, Power Within Luka epitomizes this game. It summarizes the one incredibly overpowered thing. Like, we've had uncontestable cards every single year, but people are literally like 2K22 sucks because Luka's broken. That's the thing. He is, in my opinion, the most broken card in my team. Forget all these base 3 guys. Forget Dirk Nowitzki. Luka is just straight up broken in this game. Then we've got another card who is just broken. Steph Curry. Any version of Steph Curry passed once they added limitless range into the game. They did something to Steph Curry in 2K16. They brought out like a break the game Steph Curry. It wasn't in my team. It was for like play now. But once they did that, they did something to Steph Curry. He never missed. He would literally chuck half court heaves and then go in. There has never been a player like this. There has never, ever, ever been a player who missed his little Steph. And in 2K16, they actually gave him his scoop layup animation that once he got into it, literally was unmissable. It was unblockable. Once you got into that layup animation, you couldn't be blocked. So Steph Curry could attack the basket better than anyone. He literally could shoot from beyond half court. It's not even a joke. It was a joke. The best card by a country mile in NBA 2K16. None anywhere close to Steph. Then, this is the one card that came out in July that I have to put in. Yao Ming. Yao Ming in 2K20 was like, we all thought, we were like, you know what, this card's pretty good. This card's pretty good. And then we saw like how to effectively use this card. There was a animation that I don't actually do in this video because there's actually very little footage of the Yao Ming animation. But it was this like thing where you did a crossover into a behind the back, and you could get from the halfway line to the elbow with just that animation. And if you held L2, while doing that animation, you were impossibly stopped, and then you would tap square and you would hop step to the basket. So you could glitch from the halfway line to the basket every single time with Yao, and there's nothing anyone could do. It was the game of the unblockable post hooks. It was the game of the unstoppable hop steps, and Yao Ming was him. He was just one of the toughest players in the game to stop because he could shoot from deep. Release was only okay, but he was your primary ball handler. And again, this is one of those years where centers are primary ball handlers, and Yao, not the most best card in the game, but great. 2K15 Carmelo Anthony. Now I got two 2K15 players because this was a really weird year. This was a year where it was like the most overpowered cards in the game were free locker code cards that were like timed. Weird year for my team. But Melo, lads. Melo had the best release in the game. Forget Tracy McGrady was really good that year. For me anyway, in terms of rankings, it goes Levine was probably the best card in the game for most of the cycle. And then once they started coming out with these pink diamonds, Melo just took the cake. It took like the crown. I never used Carmelo Anthony, but I would get 30 dropped in my head every time I had him. Or every time I played against him. I wish I got this card. And that was the thing. It was like not everyone used all these locker code cards, but he was just unstoppable. He was just absolutely unstoppable. And yeah, best shooter in the game, best dunker in the game. Just unbelievable on defense, just unbelievable card. And now, in my opinion, this was the most unstoppable card. This was literally a card that stopped me from my No Money Spent series. Until this year's Luka, this was the most unstoppable card in the game. I stand by that. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So imagine 98% of Yao Ming, as good as Yao Ming, but he came out 2 months earlier. This card out at the start of June. Goat Kareem. Literally, you could dribble glitch up the floor with this guy. You could use him as a 3-hunter. You could put him on ball. Like, I used to put him guarding ball. And he could play power forward as well. So you could run him and Yao. But, like, look at the range, man. Kareem was just demigod, the likes of we had never seen before. And the thing is, at least when Yao came out, there was Kareem. There was, like, Yao came out the same day as a cheap Dino and a cheap Eddie Curry. There were literally no Kareem stoppers. There were no centers that could even live with Kareem. There was a reason he was 3 million MT. And honestly, the only time I'll say it, he was worth every penny of that 3 million MT. The guy literally would win you games by himself. So yeah, that is the top 10 overall cards, in my opinion, in my team history. Let me know which you guys agree with, which you guys don't. I know obviously a lot of people are going to expect NBA 2K21 Bull. I just had some issues with that card. I just think he was so bad on defense. Like, he was on my last list. I think Pink Diamond's more overpowered, but I just think that Invincible Bull is one of the most overrated cards of all time. Invincible Yao Ming last year. I'm not quite as high on him as a lot of other people. And 2K19 Giannis. 2K19 Giannis would be on the list if I was going to put in 2 Giannis's. I actually think Giannis is better in 2K18, but 2K19 Giannis is like the most honorable mention because he was maybe better than AK. I think AK was epitomized the game a little bit more, but Giannis is incredible. So that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.